over under, although the Broncos and the Chargers, same over under. Chargers at 10, coming off a disappointing 9-8 season, where they had a chance to go to the playoffs, and that Raiders game at the end was just crazy. They signed J.C. Jackson. They traded for Khalil Mack. I mean, these were their big moves. While the Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos went big this offseason. They also added Kyle Van Noy, Sebastian Joseph Day, and Bryce Callahan, a sneaky signing. His best football was played in the Vic Fangio scheme, from which Brandon Staley derives his scheme. They lost my man Justin Jones. Hate to see it, but otherwise had a pretty, relatively strong offseason in bolstering what, like, a lot of people think is one of the best rosters in all of the NFL. Going over or under the Chargers here?
Yeah, since I told you off the top that I like the Chargers to win the division, I think I have to lean over here with this. I think it's interesting. They got 5 primetime games. That ties the league high with 13 other teams. I think it's going to be interesting to get off to a hot start, and I think it's also very possible looking at that schedule. Look at the Cleveland Browns in week 5. We're, of course, going to be talking about a potential Deshaun Watson suspension. He may not be in the lineup for that game. It's kind of on the border, in my opinion, whether that suspension could be 4 or 6 games. If I'm high on the Chargers, I think it could be possible that they could be 4-1 to start the year. Could we be talking about 5-2 at the bye? That's kind of my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get the start off with the Raiders. I think you probably give them a win. At the Chiefs, I had the Chiefs winning that. Jags, easy win. Jags at Houston. If Deshaun Watson's suspended, they're 4-1. At home against the Broncos, that's not really a great home game because Denver definitely travels. And then home against Seattle, like, even if you want to say Denver beats them and they lose at Kansas City, 5-2 feels like worst case scenario for the Chargers going into the bye, barring like something, obviously barring major injuries or some real heavy duty chargering here.
Or Brandon Staley calling a timeout when he shouldn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Coming out of the bye, coming out of the bye, they have at Atlanta and at San Francisco versus Kansas City and at Arizona. I mean, it feels really bullish to have a team that's 5-2 go better than 2-2 in that spot.
2-2 is kind of my gut reaction there. San Francisco is a wild card when it comes to these preseason rankings. You have no idea what Trey Lance is going to look like if Deebo Samuel's in the fold. So that one's kind of tough. I mean, I have them beating Atlanta. Kansas City, I'm going to split the season series there, so a win or a loss there. Arizona's another interesting team I'm not sure about. It's in Arizona. It's in Week 12. Maybe that's the point in the season where the Cardinals begin their weird downward spiral that they usually do in the late season. So 2-2, 3-1 if you're really bullish on the Chargers, in my opinion, coming off of that Week 8 bye.
Yeah, so that's 2-2 there for the Chargers. Let me flip my thing. I keep forgetting that I'm not in charge of scrolling. Devo is. So we got the Chargers. I think we both agree that the Chargers are probably 7-4 at that point. There should be 7-4 after 12 weeks of the season. They're then at Las Vegas. I think it's okay to give them a loss there.
I agree.
Home against Miami, I think, is a win. Home against Tennessee should be a win. Neither of those teams are going to travel like that far, I wouldn't think, and fill up the stadium. Like, they should beat both of those teams if they are that good. At Indianapolis, what do you want to do there? So we have them at 5-2, 7-4, 7-5, 9-5, 9-5 with 3 games to go. Although all 3 really tough games. Oof. At Indy, versus Los Angeles, at Denver. Give me a record for those 3 games.
At Indy, I'm going to give them a win. I'm giving them a loss against the Rams, of course. And then at Week 18, that's going to be tough. We talked about this being the toughest division. No one's going to be resting their starters in that final week of the regular season. It's on the road in Denver. That makes me lean towards Denver. So maybe a 1-2 record to end the year.
All right, that's 10 wins on the nose. So the Chargers, to me, that makes the Chargers tough because we had them splitting with Denver and splitting with Kansas City. And splitting with Las Vegas. So you Correct. Split the division. That's just not unreasonable. Could they win more? Yes. Could they win less? Absolutely. I mean, that's like rocket science, and I'm like crazy knowledge I'm dropping here. But in this tough division, it's just really difficult, I think, to give anybody Like, to be like, oh, they're going to go 6-0 in the division. Like, that would be pretty shocking if anybody went. 4-2 would be a strong effort in this division. I guess somebody might have to. They got some layups on the road, games they should win, but it's like if they lose to Miami or Tennessee, and then like Deshaun Watson plays, it could be a 9-8 season again. It should be a 12-win season given the talent they have. I mean, I would lean. I think you have to pick two. You can't obviously go over with all three of the teams in this division. No offense to the Raiders. I mean, you have to pick. Are you going to be in on Denver or Los Angeles this year? And or do you buy the Chiefs? So you could be in on Denver and LA and be down on the Chiefs, and that's fine. But I think if you're high on the Chiefs and you believe in the Chargers, you sort of have to be out on Denver too.
Right.
I would lean over on the Chargers because I think the schedule is very friendly. But we'll look at Denver in a second. I assume you're leaning over on the Chargers as well, even though.
Yeah, I am. And I did want to mention, I was looking at very winnable games for all four teams. And in my opinion, I think the Chargers have the most winnable. I'm talking about looking at lesser teams and automatically marking up a W. Jaguars, Texans.
At Atlanta should just be a win for if the Chargers are as good as they're supposed to be, that just needs to be a win.
So that's 4 wins if I'm looking at those opponents. Split the season series within the rivals. There's 7 right there. You can talk yourself into leaning over. There's that push opportunity as well. So, yeah, I told you I'm bullish on the Chargers. I think I'm taking the over.
9.5, I would definitely take the over. 10, I'm at least like a little hesitant because I think there's a really good chance you push. But if they come out and go start 7-0, I mean, or even 6-1, which would not be crazy at all. Like if Deshaun Watson suspended 6-1, just wouldn't be surprising for them, given the setup. And if they start 6-1, I mean, you have to be thinking push is kind of a nightmare at that point because you just really need 4 wins, and there's definitely 4 out there on the table for them. All right.